Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
What's going on, guys? It's Logan and EJ, man, and welcome back to SwampCast. Yeah, man, it's coming off of a pretty rough weekend, being a Gator. 2-4 now. The Gators, the 2025 Florida Gators are. It's crazy that a guy like James Franklin starts 3-3 and gets fired, even though that they were just ranked number 3 a couple weeks ago, and they made the college football playoff last year, and they still were that quick to pull the trigger on a $60 million buyout. I think it was 60 mil.
Yeah, 56.7.
There you go. And so he's gonna be living life the next, probably 10 years.
Oh, I love that.
Unreal. Good for him. And we still have Billy Napier after 1 year of going above 500, right? It was 1 year, I think, we've gone above 500 under Billy. So yeah, it's been rough, man. So we'll get into all that, of course, in a bit, man. We have a coaching search. We're just gonna throw out some of our some names that are kind of on our radar. But first, we're of course going to get into this Texas A&M reaction. So EJ, if you don't have anything else to touch on there, we'll just dive right into this Texas A&M breakdown.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, the Florida Gators fall to 2-4, 1-2 in the SEC as they lose to the number 5 Texas A&M Aggies. Texas A&M is undefeated, obviously, and this was a scary game going into a sold-out Kyle Field with all the fake cadets. A lot of Texas A&M fans were really, really worried about the refs going into this game. That's very indicative of the video that we posted. And what's funny is they're all like that a lot. I was looking at a lot of old Texas A&M highlights too, videos from like back then, and it's every year they complain about the refs. So definitely the most whiny fan base probably I've come across so far. Wildest thing ever, penalties were not an issue for Texas A&M in this game at all. At all. EJ was texting me like, hey, what's going on? What's up, man? Texas A&M only had 3 penalties for 30 yards. I think only like 1 penalty going into the 4th or something insane.
Yeah.
And that was not an issue for this one.
Yeah, the refs were like, oh, shit, we only threw 1 flag on them.
Yep. Yeah. Unbelievable, dude. Unbelievable. EJ, you can kind of give us your thoughts, man, on this game. It was a close one there. I guess felt kind of out of reach, even though it was only a touchdown. But it was a close game. Texas A&M fans would probably say that it was a blowout, according to what they were talking about last week. But how'd you feel about this one?
Yeah, it's interesting, all the different fan bases, but the Texas A&M fans are definitely a unique breed, I will say. I actually work with a couple of Texas A&M people at work, and they're great. But some of them are, I guess, whiny is a good way. I mean, they're a very, very good team. I will tell you, based on watching the game, they are definitely the best team we've played this year. So you picked them to, didn't you pick them to win the SEC in our preseason show?
I think I picked them to win the SEC, and I have them going to the either the quarter or the semifinals. I got to look again, but I have them going pretty far.
You were very high on Texas A&M. So it's not like we're Texas A&M haters, but we're just pointing out some of the fans are a little whiny. And the reality is, I didn't watch all the Texas A&M highlights, so unfortunately, no, we're not experts at Texas A&M football. But, I watched the Notre Dame game. I thought that was a great game. Notre Dame is a really good team. Ironically, they lost to the same 2 teams that we did, but we're trash, but Notre Dame's great. I watched a little bit of the Auburn game. And you can't walk away from those 2 games, if those are the only 2 times you watch Texas A&M, and say, oh, this is materially the best team in the nation. You know what I mean? Now, they did win at South Bend. They did, statistically dominate Auburn, but it was still a one-play type of game. And Auburn is a pretty good little team themselves, even though they also have a losing record.
They should have beat Georgia.
Hung in there with Georgia. They're a pretty good little team here. But, we played 4 straight top 10 teams, which is ridiculous. 3 of them on the road. A&M is the most complete team. They're very similar to Miami, like we said going in, from an offensive line, defensive line standpoint. And to be honest with you, if we were to say, okay, Florida and Texas A&M, these are the 2 rosters, do a draft and build one team, 105-man roster from these 2 teams, I'm not totally sure that the average college football fan would necessarily pick more Texas A&M players individually than Florida players. But Texas A&M is just a much better coached team. They're a much more prepared team. They have an identity, and they execute the plays. A lot of times, there are a couple of plays in this game, and we can talk about them where, we had like a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. We run the ball, get absolutely stoned. Texas A&M also had some 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 where they also ran the ball. But guess what? Miraculously, it's a well-designed play, well executed, well blocked, well timed, and they easily convert. So, it's not all about, the actual play call itself. It's, are you a good enough coach to call a play that your team can execute? And Texas A&M, Mike Elko does a fantastic job with that. And I'll just say, lastly, they have a very good strategy and identity as to how they approach the game. They want to line up. They want to beat you with their offensive line. They want to run the ball. They want to run over you, wear you down, so that late in the game, all they got to do is turn around and hand it off. And what that does is it gets the opposing team's offense in this, oh shit mode. We got to throw it to score on these guys. And then what happens? Their elite pass rush takes over the game, because now you're in a situation where you got to throw it. And Mike Elko says, got them. They can't block us. And that's exactly what happened. Austin Barber looked like he's a top one of these tackles that were on what's the award you give to the offensive line of the year? Whatever that award is. He looked like he should be nowhere near Texas. I mean, they had the one guy from Bowling Green that was just completely obliterating. I was like, okay, Billy Napier, you can't block Texas A&M. So are you just going to sit there and continue to call drop back in the pocket? Or are you actually going to do something to negate the pass? Roll the pocket, send an extra blocker, run right at the pass rush. Nope. Let's just drop back and let Austin Barber look like he's got his freaking ankles shackled together trying to block these A&M defensive ends. I mean, it didn't matter who they put out there. A&M literally, they snapped the ball and the guy was in the backfield like instantly. It was an embarrassing performance. But kudos to the Aggies. I mean, they had a fairly manageable schedule to start the year relative to ours. They had only one road game so far at Notre Dame. They got to play 3 straight road games now, which I've also never seen. I don't think we've ever played 3 straight road games. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see how they fare in your prediction of them winning the SEC. So congratulations to the Aggies fans, Florida fans. Wet paper bags over our heads.
Mm-hmm. No, you hit nail on the head on everything you said, man. Cassius Howell is the guy that was just in the backfield the entire game.
Cassius Howell.
Number 9. Just an absolute monster. His stats don't really show it, but he was a problem the entire time. and he was the guy that was just giving Austin Barber absolute hell. Our way of dealing with that was bringing in Hayden Hansen, and finally doing what he does best, and that's block. And we try to put him there, and he still was getting. It was literally just pushing them around. And that's one thing that you really got to respect about Mike Elko, right? And something that his teams have, even though he's only been at Texas A&M now for a few years, the moment he got there, you could tell the physicality of this team really, really took a step forward. Whether that's the offensive line or the defensive line, that was another big issue. Marcel Reed had so much time in the pocket.
Yeah.
It was unreal. That's something I talked about, EJ. I was like, yeah, the Gators got to the backfield and got to Arch Manning, but guess what? Marcel Reed can not only create time for himself, but this offensive line for Texas A&M has literally, I think, 5 return. Like, all the guys are returning starters, maybe except for one. I think the entire line's returning starters, which is why I picked them to go far, because I was like, okay, Marcel Reed's going to take a step forward. They got Casey. They got Mario Craver coming in. Now with a good old line coming back, they're going to be a dangerous offense, and that's what we saw on Saturday under the lights on Kyle Field. So yeah, let's get to some of the stats real quick. And we could talk about, since we're kind of on it, let's just talk about this Texas A&M offense versus Gator defense. The total amount of yards for this Texas A&M offense, 417. They did have the 1 interception, the 1 turnover, but they had 19 first downs, only 3 penalties the entire game, which was pretty insane. 9 of 17 on 3rd down, and they didn't have to go for it on 4th down. Possession was a big issue in this game. They just held the ball, especially in that 4th quarter. And the Gators really did not have a lot of chances to even do much if they wanted to. So, yeah, that was just a really good game plan by them. A big reason they were able to do that. Actually, let's just get into it, the stats, and we'll go from there. Marcel Reed, 234 yards in the air. A lot of it did come from those first couple drives where they were just torching us. My key to the game defensively, EJ, was hold them to only 3 explosive plays. They had like 6. They had 3 on the first drive, or the first 2 drives.
Right.
They started off with Mario Craver, dude, just an absolute bomb down the field, wide open. Jordan Castell, instead of Cormani McClain, this was Jordan Castell's worst game as a Gator. He was getting just absolutely torched down the field, and like those literally both touchdown plays in this game were Castell's fault. And that sucks to see. But it was just his turn to get picked on, and that sucks when you're a safety against an explosive offense, and that's what we talked about, EJ. This Gator defense is usually good with not allowing these big explosive plays. They struggled this game. As a safety, this is your game to lock in and do your job, and that wasn't the case with Castell oh my God, what's his name? Our other safety. Just going past my brain right now. My bad. He'll come to my head. But yeah, so they were splitting the safeties, and it was a really bad night there for the Gator defense in the pass game. Because Marcel Reed was not only creating plays like I was saying, but had time in the pocket. The run game though for Texas A&M is probably the biggest story. Something that we talked about this upcoming week. I was so worried, EJ. You even said that you told me, you're like, this is the one game that the Gator defense is going to really, really struggle. First 2 drives, touchdowns for the Texas A&M Aggies, and they made it look easy as hell. The Gators come out, had a beautiful drive. Dude, we have a beautiful 10-play drive. I'm like, oh my God, everything looks amazing. You know what I mean? They're playing man coverage. We're finding the one-on-one matchups. We're running the ball with Jaden Ball. Holy shit, it's a great day. And then, yeah, they just 1 play, 2 plays, they go down the field and just score on us. It looks so easy. I was very, very scared. And actually, we'll get to that Texas A&M defense, like I said, in a minute. But yeah, they just look really good in the run game. It just dominating with Owens and Le'Veon Moss, and of course Marcel Reed himself getting out there and making plays on his feet. And that's very, very scary. Something that was very weird to see. Because the Gators did such a good job last week against Texas. And look what Texas did against Oklahoma. They ran the ball when they wanted to. And so I don't know what's going on with this Gator defense. I think what happened is they took the shots deep. Our defense got all messed up. They were worried about those deep shots, these explosive plays, while Texas did not hit those deep plays. And I think that's what changed the game for this Gator run defense. Really screwed us up there. So, EJ, anything you want to talk about for this Texas A&M offense against this Gator defense?
Yeah, I think, the reason why I said this was going to be our defense's worst game of the year, and I'm somewhat relieved that this stretch is over where we had to play Texas A&M on the road, is that number one, you're playing in Kyle Field, but number two, Texas A&M's offensive line is maybe not person for person better than Miami's, but when they play us, it's going to look like they're better than Miami. And that's exactly what happened. And that's because of Marcel Reed. He's not a sitting duck back there. So not only do they had, you go to PFF and look at the pass blocking grades for Texas A&M. It's insane. They had 13 total players who pass blocked at least 2 snaps, and 12 of them are 70 or higher, which is like really good. The offensive line, the entire offensive line was pretty much rated 80 or above. Nabu, Zahn, Reed Adams, Feathery, and Crownover were basically like the Great Wall of Texas. These guys completely and utterly stoned us. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, well, we got some good defensive ends. I mean, we were able to come after Texas. Nope. It was just a complete mauling. Now, prior to the Texas game, it's not like we did a lot of pass rush, pressures and sacks outside of the Arch Manning game. But the difference in this game is Texas A&M, beyond just being good at blocking, they have a system that takes what the defense gives you. They're able to run the ball for 4 or 5 yards a carry, and they have a quarterback, when things break down, can get outside the pocket. We had absolutely no contain, and steps up into the pocket, rolls out, can get a first down. And the defense, we gave up all of the underneath routes. He found them all, and they're able to keep the drive moving no matter what. The only time that how many times did they punt in this game? I was actually looking for that. So they actually punted 4 times, which I was kind of shocked at. So that's actually interesting. Most of those came in the second half. But the reality is they had a feel for how to play defense with their offense. And Billy Napier just did not have any kind of aggressive attitude defensively or offensively to try to give a spark back. The only aggressive thing he did was, it was 3rd and 6. I was like, okay, he's definitely going to run it, try to pick up 2 or 3 yards, and then he's going to go for it on 4th down. Well, when you go for it on 3rd down and you run it and you get absolutely stoned, okay, you need to punt the freaking ball. And at that time, I think we were only down by a touchdown. So when you get stoned and then you try to go for it on 4th down, dude, the rule of thumb, at least in some coaches' mind, is they get a play sheet and they look at the stats and they say, okay, what is the average yards that we gain per play so far in this game? Oh, 4.5 yards. Okay, it's 4th and what? 4. Okay, we're going for it because we're per play, we're getting more yards than what we have to give her. Well, if it's 4th and 6 and we're only getting 4 yards a play, you need to punt the freaking ball. Because as soon as you make the decision to go for it and 20% chance you get it and you don't get it, the game's completely over. And that's exactly what happened, because I think Texas A&M took the ball on a 10-play, 50-yard drive that completely took like half the fourth quarter and, dominated. So all in all, oh, and then one last thing. Wait, we're still talking about the Texas A&M offense, right?
Yep.
They lost their running back, Moss, which I guess it really didn't matter because they did a lot of good outside runs with Concepcion. And they had obviously Marcel Reed, but then Reuben Owens also held it down. And collectively, even without Le'Veon Moss, they ran for 183 yards on us and 42 attempts and 3 touchdowns. So if Moss was in the game the whole time, they would have been a completely, they would have blown us out. It would have been a blowout. So that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you just said. Let's go ahead and dive into this Florida Gator offense, into this against this Texas A&M defense. Man, you're playing Mike Elko, one of the best defensive minds in college football. I stand beside that. You saw the physicality right away. You kind of just saw the first few drives, especially. Billy Napier, when he scripts drives, bro, he's a genius. He's unbelievable. He's like a Steve Spurrier, you know what I mean? But when he actually has to adapt to what's going on, he does. It's like he just, he like starts to stress and I don't know, has anxiety and needs pill. I don't know what's going on. Needs some medication or something. He freaks out. And that's what we saw in this game. I'm not going to dive into it too much, EJ. I want you to really take over this segment. But Texas A&M comes out, plays man coverage. Is like, hey, we don't believe that DJ can make these throws down the field. What he's going to do? And so we found success in finding these one-on-one matchups. We found success in the run game. Because we scripted these drives. We found the little, the little holes in their defense. As the game continued to go on, they then changed to a zone concept. And they were getting to DJ Lagway a lot. DJ Lagway, when it's not a man-to-man, defensive concept, and he's getting pressure, and you get pressure on him, he starts to freak out a little bit. That first read's not going to be there, no pun intended, because that guy, it's zone. You don't know what's going on. If it's cover 2, cover 3, especially when you have a guy like Mike Elko that's disguising these defenses, he doesn't know what's going on because what he sees pre-snap is not what's happening post-snap. That's what happened later on in this game as the game continued to go on. And when you have pressure on you and your pre-snap read's not there, it's not going to look pretty. That's exactly what happened. We couldn't run the ball because there's nothing really going on in the pass game, and it all went to hell from there. I was listening to I was going to say one thing before we dive into it anymore, EJ. One thing I noticed about I watched the Billy Napier press conference. He said the reason that he doesn't like to spread out and do 4 wide receiver sets or empty sets a lot is because DJ Lagway is not capable to run the football right now because he's not 100%. So that means they lied to us about the fact that the boot was just precautionary. So what is it? Are you lying to us about that? Like that's my question as a Gator fan. I don't know what's going on, and that's absolute bullcrap because we saw last week he was running a little bit. There was a few times where he had to kind of escape the pocket, and so that makes zero sense. By the way, because not every guy that's in a empty set formation can run the ball well. That's what I mean. Like if anything, it makes it easier for the quarterback to read the field. I just wanted to say that real quick, EJ. I'll let you kind of take this and yeah.
No, you're 100% right. This game proved that Billy Napier is yet again a tumultuous offensive coordinator, a tumultuous quarterback coach, and a tumultuous, as you very well put it, individual that can adapt to what the defense does. And it showed you that Mike Elko is significantly just better coach. Napier's an offensive guy. Elko's a defensive guy. Guess who won out? Elko's defensive prowess. It looked like A&M had switched to more of like a cover 2 type concept after Florida got tied it up at 14, and from then on out, guess what? 3 points. scored by Florida the rest of the game. So, and no ability for Billy Napier to figure out what is a vulnerability in the Texas A&M offense or defense. What can we do that can create some success? He had no answer. You had the two guys coming off the edge, Dayon Hayes and Cassius Howell, and both these guys were completely unblockable, by the way. Okay, it was like snap, they're instantly into the backfield, and they called us for holding on one of the plays that I did not actually think was holding, and then the very next play we actually did hold, and they didn't call it. So I was kind of like, well, maybe they didn't call it because the first time it wasn't really holding. They screwed that one up. But anyway, when you have two defensive ends that you just can't block, you've got to have some sort of game plan. You've got to be able to adapt. To me, it would be, we got to run. Let's run the ball directly at them. Give Austin Barber some confidence. Instead of him having to backpedal, and then next thing you know, Hayes is about to sack DJ Lagway, or Howell's even worse. They couldn't even touch the guy. Run right at him. Put him on the turf. Get him worn down. Get Austin Barber a little momentum going against those two guys. Lagway or Napier never did it. He ran straight up the middle, where there was no room. And A&M, I think for the most part, also controlled third downs. They had, I think when you look at our third downs, we were 1 for 11. We were 1 for 11, 1 for 10, whatever. One for something. Texas A&M, we knew they had a great third down defense because coming into this game, the previous two opponents were 1 out of 23 on third down. That's insane. They've given up 3 on 34 third down plays the last 3 games. They've given up 3 conversions. That's absolutely insane defense. That's like beyond luck. That's just like, you're good. And 6 of our 11 third down attempts were 10 or more yards. So you're not getting those. And then we did a screenplay that lost 3 yards. So A&M 9 of 17, kept the ball moving, kept the defense worn down. Statistically, the rushing attack is the only real thing that separates Texas A&M from Florida in this game. They possessed the ball 7 minutes longer, I think largely because of that fourth quarter drive. But I think overall, just better in-game coaching by Mike Elko, a better approach to the football game following the 14-14 tie, and they're better at positions that are more conducive to winning. Marcel Reed, people can debate this all you want, but at this point in the season, he's a better quarterback than DJ Lagway. The offensive line, significantly better than Florida's. Defensive line, they get pressure. The corners we're still not like elite in one-on-one coverage, but if you're not going to test them and you're not going to throw those back shoulder over the, on the sideline type of passes that could give them some issues, it doesn't really matter. So overall, I'm happy that we don't have to play Texas A&M anymore. I would take my chances with pretty much any other team right now in the SEC. And I think we'll probably see that. You're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna see another team thoroughly dominate us like that for the rest of the season, just because I think where the game is played, the style of play that other team imposes are going to be more conducive to us having success than playing against a team that can just completely negate most of the stuff that we want to do. So, again, congrats, Aggies, Gators. Oh, one last thing. Was listening to Shelton from High Top. He made a really good point. He said that Texas A&M is the type of team that Florida envisions to be. I completely agree with that. If you look at, and guess what? This is the second year. Elko he had a better team last year than any other teams that Napier's ever had, which is sad. So I completely agree. Big, strong line of scrimmage team with a quarterback that can evade the rush, a defense that can create pressure, create turnovers, and a team that's always going to be in it. So great job, Aggies, Gators. Let's see if we can win a homecoming game here.
Let's see. I mean, I think that's a good transition. And yeah, you kind of nailed it on the head with the third downs being key. Texas A&M averaged third down and 4. We were averaging third down and 8. So there you go. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the keys to the game too about a Texas A&M game. By the way, I had both of mine failed. It was 20 plus carries for Ball. He did not have that, and 3 explosive plays for A&M. No more than that, and they had like 7. So there you go. All right, let's get into this Mississippi State prep, man. Mississippi State, we're actually favored by 9.5 homecoming back in the swamp, baby. I think it's like 4:15 this Saturday. Weather should be nice and beautiful, man. It's beautiful down here in Florida, by the way. It was 67 degrees last night. It was unreal.
Ooh, wow, love it.
Beautiful. So here we go. Year 2 now for Jeff Lebby and his Bulldog team. The Gators did come out on top last year. We went to the Cowbell City and got it done, baby, over there in Starkville. And they're killing it this year, though, man. Mississippi State's, they've had a few, of course, some rough games, but I think they did start out 4-0, if I'm not mistaken. They're playing really well for the most part. Lost an overtime game to Tennessee. Should have won that one, man, and then lost to Texas A&M. So they did have a bye week, by the way, before they're playing us. So that's something to think about. They have had a whole week to prep us. EJ talks about that, on how for some reason these teams seem to have a bye week or an easy game before us, and so they've had time to prep. So keep an eye out for that. This is a team that's going to be refreshed and ready to go. This team is a solid group. Jeff Lebby's done a really good job building this program up, more than Billy Napier's done with Florida. They've had a couple really good, one really good win over Arizona State, had a dogfight with Tennessee, and did play well in the first half against Texas A&M. Jeff Lebby's offense is an offense that loves explosive plays in the pass game, but also loves to run the ball. You'll see them rely on their 2 good running backs that they have in Bothwell and Davion Booth. These guys are really both averaging at least 4.5 yards a carry and 6 and 4 rushing touchdowns. The backfield is also led by Blake Shapen, though, at the quarterback position. 1,200 yards passing, 67% completion percentage, and 9 touchdowns on 4 interceptions. He has been sacked 16 times. That's a big issue, by the way. This offensive line for Mississippi State, not great in the pass protection. Hopefully, I think we can see this game, especially in the crowd being in the swamp. I could see it getting loud and them being discombobulated, and this pass rush for the Gator defense getting to Blake Shapen. But they also do have some really good guys on the outside in Brennan Thompson and Anthony Evans III. These are 2 really good deep threats, even alongside Jordan Mosley there, who's pretty much just been explosive plays all year. They do like to target their tight end, unlike Texas A&M. We talked about that. They actually have a really good tight end. I'm not going to try to say his name, but he's a guy who is definitely capable there on the edge in the pass game. So an offense that, like I said, loves these explosive plays. have hurt Florida at times this year when we have not been able to get to the quarterback. Good news, this Gator defense in these ends should be able to get to the quarterback. So this should be similar to Texas game, I believe. We should see what's going on there. Defensively for Mississippi State, they have given up over 4 yards, almost 4.5 yards a carry. And one thing to look at, though, they have more interceptions than pass touchdowns allowed this year. So this is a secondary who is pretty dynamic in the back. They will let up plays, of course. You know what I mean? This is a big jump from last year. Mississippi State's defense last year was horrendous. I think they were like 120 something in the country. They were really, really bad, even though they had a decent offense at times. Even though Shapen obviously did get hurt last year. So yeah. This took a big step forward. They did a really good job in the transfer portal, getting in a lot of guys, and just a really good job by Jeff Lebby in that sense. So a lot of new faces. They have a couple of really good defensive linemen to keep an eye out for. That should be kind of a test for this Gator offensive line. I really like Dickens there. He has 14 tackles and a sack and doing well. In that sense. There's another guy, too. I forgot his name, man. That's going to bother me. There's another defensive lineman for Mississippi State, interior defensive lineman that has 2 sacks. Has been playing very, very well. So, great, decent linebacker crew as well. They have struggled with tackling at times. This is also a Mississippi State team who has played 3 very easy games. So, their stats are going to be inflated a little bit. But yeah, just a very capable defense that can get stops and can affect the quarterback. So just something to keep an eye out there in this game. So anyways, we'll obviously dive into it a little bit more, but EJ, how do you feel about this Mississippi State team, man, coming in the Swamp?
Yeah, I think you hit it, hit the nail on the head here. The first thing that kind of jumps out are the tackles for Mississippi State. Having played 4 straight top 10 teams, that position, seeing the team with the most vulnerable tackles was Texas. And ironically, that's the team that we had the most success on defense against. They have Jayon James and Luke Work, who are both graded very, very low in their pass blocking, both in the 60s. Actually, Luke Work is at 72, but in terms of his overall grade at that tackle position, he comes in at a 53.7. So, but, typically what happens is you get these low-rated players, and then when they play us, all of a sudden they're Superman. So we'll see what happens. So that's an opportunity for us to go one-on-one, beat your man, get to reduce the time that Shapen has, even though he's a little bit mobile, and force him to throw into max coverage. On the offensive side of the ball, a couple of keys. You've got to not turn the ball over. When you think about the upset opportunity for Mississippi State in this game, it's going to come from Florida turning the ball over. And so DJ Lagway has thrown 9 touchdowns, 7 picks. Shapen 9 touchdowns, 4 picks. Can we throw the ball deep down the field to exploit a somewhat vulnerable Mississippi State secondary without turning the ball over? Can we establish Jaden Baugh early? It's almost like Moses himself gives Billy Napier in stone, here are the 10 commandments. If you do them, your team will be successful. And then like Billy Napier either doesn't have his glasses on or his hearing aids in. And so he doesn't do any of the 10 that we're telling him. But we're telling him, pound the ball with Jaden Baugh and then let's see if we can hit some intermediate passes with Dallas Wilson. The other key I put in this game, I think, for Florida's defense, is stopping the run game. Bothwell, I think, is their running back. They average 183 yards rushing a game, which is significantly more than we do. But again, we played 4 top 10 teams, so you can take our stats with a grain of salt at this point. If we can stop their run, similar to how we did against Texas, even similar to Texas A&M, or not Texas A&M, LSU, who are more comparable type teams to Mississippi State, I like our chances on getting them to 3rd down and long. Lastly, red zone. Normally, I would say let's execute in the red zone. You got to get to the freaking red zone first. It's like the red zone might as well be like, it might as well be like, circling the orbit of like Mars for us, because it's like so far away we'll never get there. When you get into the red zone in this game, which I have a feeling Florida's going to be able to move the ball between the 20s, but it's when you get into the red zone against Mississippi State, is it a USF game where we are now just kicking field goals every 5 seconds? Because Billy Napier loves him a good old field goal attempt. Okay? Or can you actually score touchdowns? If we watch this game and we get into that red zone and Billy Napier's like, well, let's just put out Trey Smack out there and see if he can make a field goal.
With 10 players.
With who's counting? We are probably going to lose this game because Mississippi State, that means 1 or 2 plays, they can score a touchdown, and that's basically 3 field goals right there. So you got to score touchdowns. Billy Napier, can you get that in your brain? We'll see what happens. So those are my keys to the game. I'm actually kind of shocked that we're a 9.5-point favorite in this game.
Crazy.
I think from a statistical profile, they just trust our stats a little bit more than Mississippi State, apparently. But I can definitely see a game where Mississippi State kind of starts off fast and we have to kind of take over the game late. So that's sort of how I look at this game. I think it'll be an entertaining game. Hopefully we can come out on top here.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. My offensive key here, 5 yards to carry for this Florida Gator team. I think we get 5 yards to carry, man, establish a run on a very vulnerable Mississippi State defense in front. In that respect, then I'm not worried about this game. I think if we get that, that's an automatic win for the Gators. Defensively, for me, it's and of course DJ Lagway, like you talked about, getting in the red zone. That field's now very condensed, and with the amount of interceptions DJ has thrown, you take away that LSU game, he's only thrown 2, but there's been a few scary throws still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On a condensed field in a secondary that has, they have a scent for the football. Be very careful, right? Don't screw up a long drive. Let's keep that going. But yeah, I think 5 yards of carry will be good there. Defensively, hold them to under 3.5 yards of carry. I think the Gators will do a good enough job, like I said, getting to the quarterback to where Blake Shapen, even though there will be open wide receivers down the field, very similar to Texas, I don't think he'll either won't be able to have a clean pocket to throw the football, not be able to step into the throw to throw the football, or he'll get hit as he throws, like what happened with Arch Manning. So I'm not too worried about the explosive plays in this game. I'm going to go with more of a, I don't want them to be able to fall back on a run game. If they're able to fall back on a run game, even if we get 5 yards of carry, I'm scared, EJ. This could definitely be a loss for the Gators. So we have to stop the run under 3.5 yards of carry. I think that's an automatic win for the Gators because I think we'll do a decent job, holding those explosive plays to a minimum in that sense. So yeah, I'm not too worried. And if everything goes right, but yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. I think, like you said, it's going to come down to, are we doing field goals or are we doing touchdowns? Mississippi State's an offense that can have a touchdown any moment. They're explosive.
Yep.
Blake Shape is a good quarterback. It's his third year as a starter. He has a shit ton of experience. He understands the game of football, and he will exploit your defense down the field if you give him time. So that's a big key is get to the quarterback. But when Texas A&M played them, I think they had like 4 sacks and like 9 tackles for loss, very similar to what happened to us. So I think that I'm not too worried with Jaden Woods. Even Sharif Denson coming around the corner on a nickel blitz. I think there's a lot of things you could do there with the different kinds of blitzes you can do. So yep, we should be good there. Anything else you want to touch on, EJ, before we do this score prediction?
Let's just hope that we can, our schedule. The other thing that makes our schedule so tough, and we talk about it all the time, is everybody tends to have like either a bye week or a cupcake before us. And Mississippi State's coming off a bye. Let's wait and see what the injury report. I'm sure we'll have basically a whole roster of players on our injury report, and they'll probably have like 2 guys. So that's the other thing. You can't win these games if half the team's injured. So there you go. Let's see what that looks like. But overall, I feel confident looking at the matchups here. Can Billy Napier have a game plan? We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, man. Also, first game that me and EJ are going to be at together in the Swamp. Going to be a great time, man. It's going to be an absolute blast.
Yes.
A lot of content. We'll figure out some stuff to post and some stuff to do, of course, for sure. So keep an eye out on the socials. Link in the description down below. All right, let's do the score predictions, EJ. I went first last week. This is all you.
So I think how this game is going to go is Mississippi State's going to be the team that's going to come out with a little fire, a little spunk. I could see them taking like a 10-3 lead early. And then I think as the game goes on, our defense will start to get some pressure. We'll start to create some sacks. I'd love if we get a turnover. If we intercept it, we're going to have to run that thing back because that's the only way we're going to score off of a turnover. I think the game will be a touchdown. We'll be up by a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and then we'll be able to kind of punch one more in to kind of put the game out of reach. So I'm going to go Florida. I'm going to say 30. Give me 34. Mississippi State 20. I'll say 34-23. So I'll say we cover.
All right.
I think we're probably up 27-23, and then we punch it in there late to kind of make it look like we were doing something the whole game when it was actually close. So I'll say 34-23, even though 23 points would actually be a lot for Mississippi State to score, but I think they'll get most of them early, and 34-23 Gators.
I like it. I agree. I think it's going to be a dogfight early, and the fans probably like, what the hell's going on? I think that the Gators do eventually win 23-13. I think it's going to be so. I think they cover as well, that 9.5 point spread there. But I do think it's kind of a low-scoring game for the offense. I think, like you said, they're going to rely on field goals. It's going to be a field goal type game here, which is going to be very, very scary. But I do agree. I think these scripted drives for Mississippi State, going away from the pressure, you know what I mean, stuff like that, I think that's going to work really well. I think Jeff Levy's going to cook for a bit. But I think as the game goes on, tackles get a little bit slow. You know what I mean? Mississippi State's not ready for the Swamp, and I think it's just going to get to them, whether that's penalties and 3rd and longs, which I'm assuming is what's going to happen. And I think it's going to eat at this Mississippi State offense, and I think the Gators do pull it out 23-13. So there you go. What was yours again, EJ? It was 34-23?
34-23.
All right, well, let's see what happens, man. Going to be a fun time in the Swamp there. You guys give us your score predictions down below, man. It's going to be a great time. Follow us on our socials. We'll give you guys all the insight. It's going to be amazing, baby. Can't wait to be back in the Swamp. I love it. All right. Okay, we got a couple minutes left. Do you want to just swing through this Week 8 slate real quick?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so we're going to start out with Maryland at UCLA. UCLA favored by 2.5, bro. They had this new offensive coordinator, young guy coming in. They're 2-0 with him at the helm. Insane against a good Maryland team that should have beat Nebraska, but Nebraska got a comeback win. What do you think?
Ooh, wait, what was our records from last week?
Oh, yes. Both 7-4. So now,
Oh,
it was very, very funny. We picked different like teams and stuff, but we ended up both 7-4. So I'm 41-26, and you're 49-18, all time. So you're still ahead
okay, okay, all right, all
by
right.
a
I'm
lot.
happy. I'm happy to still be in the lead here.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna go UCLA. I think they found something with this new energy they got with the new coach. Nico, run that ball.
I res-
Bruins, get it done.
I respect it. Next one I have UNLV at Boise State. I'm with you, by the way. It's tough. I think this is tough, dude. I gotta go Maryland. I'm gonna go Maryland. I have to. I think they're the better team. Next one we have UNLV at Boise State. Boise State favored by 11.5. The Fighting Dan Mullins are out here, 6-0 now. A lot of close games. Those should have lost on Saturday. I think they're gonna get a loss here at Boise State. I think Boise State's a really good team.
Yeah, Boise. Hmm. Yeah, give me Boise at home. UNLV, but I don't know. Dan Mullen, let me tell you something. He can put together a little game plan. All right. That's one thing he could do. Um, but I give Boise State the edge, no cover.
There you go. Next one we have Washington at Michigan. Michigan favored by 5.5 after a pretty brutal loss at USC. I got out in Michigan. How do you feel about this one?
Uh, I'll go with Michigan by field goal, no cover. I think Washington, they don't have they're similar to Michigan. They're not as fast break as USC, which I think is what causing some issues with Michigan playing against USC. So I think this is more up Michigan's alley. Wolverines.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like that Washington quarterback a lot, and I love Jed Fish, the head coach for Washington. But I do have Michigan here getting a win. Louisville at Miami. Miami favored by 12.5. This is going to be a spread pick, EJ. Do you think do you think they cover that 12.5? Man, Louisville's a good little team.
I think they cover. Miami will win it. Let me see. Yeah, they're going to win this one 35-20. So they're going to definitely cover this. Wait, they're playing at home,
Yeah, it's at Miami.
and this is a revenge game because remember last year losing to Louisville kind of started the downward trajectory for them. And then they got beat by Syracuse, but Miami cover.
I agree. I'm with you there. I got Miami. I think Miller Moss just turns the ball over too much, especially in that environment. Texas A&M at Arkansas. Texas A&M favored by 7.5. We're picking the spread here.
Ooh, um, listen, Arkansas gave Tennessee hell, but unfortunately, A&M is well rested after playing Florida. Okay, no, no breaking a sweat to beat us. And I think they go to Arkansas, and Arkansas is going to have hell trying to score on them, and they're going to have hell trying to stop them from running. Interested to see if Moss is out in this game, because that could be a problem for A&M. Assuming he's back, Aggies roll, Aggies cover.
I'm in the same boat, 100%. Next one we have Texas Tech favored by 10.5 at Arizona State. We're gonna pick the spread here too.
Ooh. Okay, straight up, I'm going Texas Tech, Red Raiders. Um, you know what? Give me Texas Tech to cover because listen, Arizona State. I like you. I like your coach. Hell, maybe he's a candidate for Florida. We'll see. But Texas Tech got that oil money and it's paying off.
Arizona State just got destroyed by Utah, and so that I didn't really like that at all. But I think Utah's a very good team. I think Arizona State keeps it close. I think they cover, but I think Texas Tech wins. Next one we have Utah favored by 3.5 at BYU.
So Utah's favorite at BYU. BYU's got the defense that's going to shut them down. Give me the Cougars. Upset Utes.
Nice pick. I think the freshman quarterback for BYU is not ready for this Utah defense. I have Utah winning and covering there. USC at Notre Dame. Notre Dame favored by 7.5.
Give me the Irish in this one. Give me the Irish or give me death. USC, yeah, you did a great job against Michigan. Guess what? Notre Dame is a little bit better than Michigan. Marcus Freeman, get it done.
Can USC have 200 plus rushing yards 2 games in a row? Probably not. I'm with you, dude. I got Notre Dame. Oklahoma favored by 4.5 at South Carolina.
Ooh.
Weird game.
Oklahoma did not impress me against Texas. Okay. Mateer, maybe you should have, just kept your hand in the boot a little bit longer in the glove. What did South Carolina do in their last game? Did they?
South Carolina lost to LSU by 10 points, I think.
I do think Oklahoma is marginally in the same ballpark as LSU. South Carolina is at home. Give me the Sooners. Barely scraping, clawing to win this one. Us and South Carolina were disappointments this year.
I agree. I'm with you right there. Next one we have Georgia Tech at Duke. Duke favored by 2.5. This is probably the biggest toss-up of the week.
Okay, give me Georgia Tech to go to Duke and bring in some of that ATL energy. I like ATL. We love ATL. Yellow Jackets bringing that sting.
Yeah, this one's the biggest toss-up for me. It can go either way. I'm picking Georgia Tech, but I don't know. I like this Duke team, too. When you have a guy like Manny Diaz behind that defense, I think they can make something happen. LSU at Vandy, but I'm picking Georgia Tech. LSU at Vandy. Vandy favored by 2.5. Vandy is favored over LSU in Nashville.
Wow. This is a very interesting situation here. Pavia going against that LSU defense, I think will not throw 5 interceptions. LSU is probably going to have more fans in the stands than Vanderbilt. And I don't think Nussmeier is going to light it up. So I see why this is a close game. But I'm going to take LSU in a very close game. Give me LSU to cover the 2.5. They win by 3. LSU.
I like that. Next one we have, I'm with you right there. Next one we have Ole Miss at UGA. UGA favored by 6.5 between the hedges.
Oh, man. Lane Kiffin. Is this your audition for the Gator coaching job?
We want you.
We'll see. I think Georgia playing at home probably just got a little too much for Ole Miss. And Georgia's going to want some payback from last year. So give me Georgia Bulldogs. Upset. No, they're favored.
Yep.
Win. Straight up. Ole Miss.
Yeah, you're picking Georgia straight up win? Okay. I probably should put a spread on this one too, because I think Ole Miss covers a spread. I think Georgia's I'm not saying they're overrated, but I think they're a very vulnerable team. And I think the reason that Ole Miss almost lost this past week to a kind of mid Washington State team, which is such a weird matchup, is because I think Lane Kiffin was looking forward to this game, and I think that he's going to bring the fire. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a weird game, but I think Georgia does win this game straight up. But I think it's probably a 2-point game in the fourth. Next one we have Tennessee at Alabama, man. One of my favorite rivalries in college football. Bama favored by 9.5. We're picking the spread here.
Give me Bama. Oh, wait a minute.
9.5.
Okay, forget that. Give me Bama to win straight up, but give me Tennessee to keep it a little closey. 38-30. Tied. Tennessee cover.
There you go. I like it. I think Alabama's going to cover and win. I think they're going to win by 10 points, 13 points, maybe 2 touchdowns. I think that Tennessee, they've had a lot of close games recently. I don't think they're ready for this. They're both coming off pretty close games, but I think Arkansas might have put a little, I don't know, little chip in their armor. I don't think they're ready for this. Alabama. So there you go. Those are going to be our picks. You guys let us know your picks. What games are you looking forward to most this weekend? It's going to be a bomb weekend, man. Cannot wait. All right, we were going to talk about coaching search and the Gator basketball, but I know we got to go, so we're going to end the podcast here. EJ, any last words to everyone out there in Gator Nation?
Yeah, hopefully the next time, guys, that we talk, we'll be able to talk a little bit about the coaching search. I think there's some interesting rumors that are going out there around these coaching names. And in terms of timing, when it's going to happen, because everybody seems to be firing their coaches left and right, and we're still with ours. An interesting thing. What if we beat Mississippi State and then go to Jacksonville and beat Georgia? Then it's like, well,
Don't say
you
that.
can't fire him then.
Don't say that.
So I'm just saying it could happen. It could happen, people. So root for the Gators. But if we lose, hey. Now, if we lose against Mississippi State, I don't even think they're going to make it to Sunday to make that. I think that Saturday night, they're going to, Billy Napier's gone.
Yep.
So, because then you want some time for the new interim to have 2 weeks to get ready for Georgia. But if we win, then you turn around and beat Georgia. I don't know.
No, he stays if that's the case, and I will cry. All right, well, there you go. That's going to be in the pod. Appreciate you guys, man. Love y'all. We'll see you on sometime next week. Go Gators, baby.